You know the feeling. A guest arrives, and your dog does that specific thing. They don't bark or act aggressive. They simply hang back, watch the stranger pace the hallway, and stare. You can't quite explain it, but something in you thinks, yeah, I see it too. While the internet often describes this behavior as a psychic gift or the reading of auras, the biological reality of what is happening inside their head is far more interesting. In the first 3 seconds of meeting a stranger, your dog processes 3 distinct streams of physical data. They analyze the person's entire body in motion, tracking how weight shifts during a walk, whether hands are tense or loose, and whether the approach is direct or curved. A person moving unpredictably registers as a different physical profile than someone who is relaxed. Simultaneously, their nose pulls an invisible layer of chemical information from the air. When humans experience fear or aggression, our bodies emit volatile organic compounds, chemical signatures in our sweat and breath. We can't perceive them, but a dog reads this chemical weather in real time. The final sensory check is social. Your dog scans your micro-reactions and body language toward the guest. Because they have spent years studying your patterns, any deviation in your posture provides immediate information about the stranger's reliability. Body language, chemical scent, and social observation create a high-speed synthesis that looks like instinct. But this sensory sweep is the initial screening. The complexity increases once those observations hit the dog's memory. At Kyoto University, researcher Akiko Takaoka used a pointing experiment to see if dogs track human behavior rather than blindly following gestures. The test established trust first, with an experimenter pointing to a container with food. In the second round, the experimenter intentionally points to an empty one. They've lied in the only language the dog understands. In the third round, the human points to a container that actually contains food. The dog knows the food is there, yet stays put. Every single dog tested refused to follow the liar's gesture. When Takaoka swapped in a new human for the final round, the dogs followed immediately. They hadn't become generally suspicious. They had filed a complaint against one specific individual. This shows that dogs maintain an internal credit score for human reliability. They aren't making a moral judgment. They're protecting themselves from chaos and unpredictability. While dogs remember being lied to directly, the stakes change when a stranger wrongs their owner. Hitomi Chijiwa tested how dogs judge humans based on how they treat the pack. In this experiment, a dog watches their owner struggle to open a container, while a stranger takes one of 3 roles. They either help, refuse to help, or act as a neutral observer. When the strangers later offered treats, the dogs accepted food from the helpful and neutral people, but they actively shunned the treat from the person who had refused to help their owner. This behavior is called third-party affective evaluation. The dogs displayed a negativity bias. They didn't reward the helpful stranger, they only punished the unhelpful one. Keeping a ledger of who refuses to help their owner is a survival tactic. Dogs prioritize identifying those who pose a potential threat to their pack over rewarding universal generosity. This leads to a final question. Can a dog distinguish between a person who is genuinely mistaken and someone who is actively lying? Researchers at the University of Vienna tested this logic. In this setup, a treat is hidden. On the left, the human watches the treat move to a different bucket. On the right, the human leaves the room and misses the switch. Both humans then point to the original empty bucket. The results were stunning. Dogs ignored the human who saw the switch and found the treat themselves. But when the human had genuinely missed the switch, the dogs followed their lead, giving the benefit of the doubt to someone who simply didn't know better. The dogs were analyzing intent. One had incomplete information, while the other chose deception. Genetics dictate the sharpness of this cognitive mechanism. Breeds selected for cooperative work, like retrievers and border collies, were most effective at detecting deception. Terriers, however, followed the liars. This reflects centuries of independent breeding, where ignoring human guidance to investigate for themselves was a job requirement. A 2025 Kyoto study added a crucial boundary to these findings. When dogs watched humans act selfishly toward unknown dogs, they displayed no preference for or against that person. This evaluation mechanism remains dormant during abstract scenarios. Dogs are not moral vigilantes. They only run these intense psychological checks when there are direct stakes for their own pack. If your dog loves everyone they meet, it does not mean they are broken or unable to read people. A friendly dog starts from a baseline of trust. This behavior indicates that no human in their life has triggered a specific, observable violation yet. Every time your dog meets someone and pauses before deciding how to feel about them, they are pulling on 10,000 years of coevolution. Dogs learned a long time ago that humans are complicated and sometimes deceptive. Instead of abandoning us, they evolved a sophisticated psychological tool purely to keep us safe. I want to hear your stories. Comment below with a specific time your dog judged a stranger and turned out to be completely right. I read all of them. See you in the next video.